Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today, let's talk about some Daredevil. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're going to be taking a look at these Daredevil, Man Without Fear, Ultimate Collections from Brian Michael Bendis and Maleev. We got Volume 1, got Volume 2, and Volume 3 all here to look at together. But before we go any further, I want to ask you guys to please subscribe. It helps the channel grow, helps us get more viewers, helps the algorithm, all that stuff. So please leave a like on the video, share a comment down below if you like Bendis' Daredevil stuff, and that will help us out a lot. So let's talk about these. This right here is Bendis' Daredevil run, the entire thing. This series starts out as the Marvel Knights series, although there is no Marvel Knights branding on any of the spines. So technically, it starts out here with Daredevil, Man Without Fear, by Kevin Smith, Joe Quesada, Jimmy Palmiotti on inks. This one, fun fact, I got a sketch of Daredevil here from Jimmy Palmiotti. I met him at MegaCon many years ago. This is a really good story. We will talk about this possibly in another video, but it's a long one. It's like 1 through 8. But I brought it up to show you that this kind of dovetails into where this first Ultimate Collection starts. I was flipping through here the other day. I just got them. I got them online. Some guy was selling them, and they're practically brand new. He was selling them for $42 for all three, so I could not pass that up. I have read this run once in college, but I have not read it since then, so I'm excited to reread it and then jump in from here, because this leads into a pretty interesting place, back into my two trades I did have, which are the start of the Brubaker run, Devil Inside and Out, Volume 1 and 2, and then I had recently picked up the Ultimate Collections of the rest of his run. This is Volume 2 and Volume 3 for Brubaker. That's a separate video as well. So all this is, it's not really one long story between the two different writers, but Bendis leaves Matt in a place, as you can tell probably from this cover, that's really interesting. So I just wanted to reread how he got there before I jumped into the Brubaker stuff, which I haven't read all of yet. So, but I brought up Kevin Smith's run because A, it's great, and it's the last time you've really seen wonderful Joe Quesada art. He did Daredevil Father, but he really hasn't done anything since then in terms of art. Now he is the chief creative officer, or whatever his position is now over at Marvel, so he is involved in the Marvel day-to-day. He's just not doing art that much anymore, which is sad for me. But this does start out with, I think it's like issue 16, yep, 16 and 19, and then 26 and 40. So Bendis hops on to do some stuff with David Mack, believe it or not, although David Mack right here in the very first page, especially this cover too, is really aping Joe Quesada, and maybe a little bit of Phil Hester, like the inking style is as heavy as Phil Hester and Andy Parks when he was being inked like that on Green Arrow. And then it goes from here into the typical David Mack stuff. Now, I think I have read these couple of issues. I'm not really a huge fan of this weird, wacky David Mack stuff. It's really heavy on the words. There's not a whole lot going on unless you're really into this heady story stuff. This is the same problem I have with Arkham Asylum. I've only ever read that once. Just not into this super painted stuff. Although, I did read their other stuff. So, goes into this, and then it picks up right where you kind of really want to start reading, which is with Alex Maleev, or Maleev. I'm not sure which one that is. So that's issue 26. So there are issues in here written, I think, by Bob Gale, some trial storyline. There's a couple issues in between, but they're totally skippable. Obviously, they did not throw them in here. So Alex Maleev does a whole lot of work in here, and he's got this really cool kind of realistic but scratchy style. Like, all the backgrounds are super realistic, but with a lot of depth and shading. But when you get to the faces and stuff, it kind of pops out like a old school comic book kind of flattens it out a little bit. But I really like his style, and these guys really gelled on Daredevil. And then they went on to do Scarlet after this, as well as a 12-issue run on Moon Knight, believe it or not, for Marvel Comics. And I think the most recent stuff they've done, they did a couple issues at DC with Leviathan and Leviathan Rising, like a whole bunch of stuff over there. So that was really interesting with the DC heroes to see Alex Maleev do that stuff with Bendis. So this whole run is about Daredevil kind of breaking himself, you know, and then ending up in this situation where he's in jail at the end. There's a whole thing in here, I think maybe it's in the second volume, where Matt's secret identity kind of becomes public. He gets married, fights the owl. You know, this is his new wife. I think her name is Milla. I don't really remember what happens to her, hence why I want to read the Brubaker stuff, just to see where that all goes. You got Typhoid Mary here. So, a lot of interesting stuff. He takes down the Kingpin. This looks like Joe Quesada, but I think it's different artists. In the back of this run, they highlight the different artists who showed up here. So yeah, they were on Daredevil for a long, long time. I want to say, I mean, what, from 26 through, this goes to what? Does it say in here? 81. You know, that's a long time, man. 60 issues. That's over 5 years of Daredevil stories right here. Just Bendis and Maleev and maybe a couple of other artists doing the in-betweens. Interesting about Volume 3, you know, this has Terry Dodson doing some pages in the back right here in this issue, which really stands out against Alex Maleev stuff to get this really kind of superhero-y, cartoony style, which I love Terry Dodson, but to go up against Maleev in the same book is a very strange thing. Maleev is the only one credited here on the second trade, aside from the other guys who helped out with issue number 65. I take that back. He's the only guy on the cover. They all do get... Bendis and Maleev are the only ones that get the spine treatment, though. But issue 3 also has What If Karen Page Had Lived, which if you don't know what that is, you would probably need to refer back to this trade, because that's her, and this is where she dies. And also Ultimate Marvel Team-Up 6 through 8. With Maleev, Michael Lark, and Bill Sienkiewicz, and that's this stuff back here. So, Ultimate Marvel Team-Up takes place in an entirely different universe, an entirely different Daredevil, but it's here in the Daredevil Ultimate Collections. So this has no bearing on the story whatsoever. So that's kind of interesting. You'll get it to here, and then, you know, you still got 3 issues left, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, all these have a little bit of extras. There's like an interview in some of them. Here's some page tests, a script. You know, they're all a pretty good value, and they all go for $35, $35, and $35. So I do think these are still available. Like, you can find these pretty easily. If not, there's always the aftermarket, and you can find a guy doing a deal like I got. These are in really good shape. So shout out to Facebook for hooking me up. But boy, oh boy, I can't wait to read these. So that is a preview of what is coming up on the channel. Some Daredevil, some Captain America stuff, Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, whole bunch of reviews. So if you guys like Bendis' Daredevil, let me know what you like about it. Let me know down below what you don't. Do you think this run is better than Brubaker's? Do you think this run is better than Mark Waid's? I read all Mark Waid's run. I really liked it. This is a totally different beast. So I'm interested to dive into Daredevil. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment, like below, and we will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.